and this nurse comes in, and she goes, this social worker comes in, and she tells me that the day that I went to David, the day I went to jail, David's, his condition in his lungs had taken a turn for the worse. But basically, he had been having episodes of desaturation that were lasting, up to an hour at a time, and that his his lungs were physically destroyed. That they weren't, that the ventilator was just too much for his little body, right? And that he was right? And I told, and that the doctors were all recommending that Stephanie sign a do not resuscitate order. So the next time we went to on her, because there was nothing they could do, his lungs had given out, they were physically destroyed, and that they wanted Stephanie to give a do not resuscitate DNR order. So the next time they went in here to read, and she told me that it's said like 10, 15 times a day he was going down and he wasn't coming back up, and it was just his lungs were shot. They were physically destroyed, and that Stephanie was not gonna sign that order unless I agreed, unless she talked to me that it was up to me. And I looked at her and I said, because I had David and me communicated on a level that we both knew that he was going to get better. I mean, I had affected him. He did a lot better when I was around. Let's just put it that way. And besides the fact, I was like, no, I'm not going to do shit. I'm not signing shit. I want to see him first. I want to see him. Okay? Well, about 3 days later, I get a call. She gives me the number. I start calling Flex from the jail. I'm sitting in county, and they call it from the tower. They said, you need to call UCLA right now. And I called, and she said, and nurse came, and she's like, well, she said that David had, for the last few hours, been had it desaturated down to the teens, and then they weren't able to get him back up, that there was nothing that they could do, and that Stephanie was holding him, and that if I had anything to say to him, I should say it now, because he's gone. Then someone's died, and so I get on the phone, and Stephanie's holding the baby. He's holding David, she hadn't been ever long before. And she also told me they went in and took him off the ventilator because it was, it was all too late. They took him off the ventilator. So I have to say, put Stephanie on the phone. She's like, hi, and she said, Stephanie told me that he was, that they kept on giving him, this paralyzing drug, this paralyzing drug, and she said he's not supposed to do that anymore, and that she told me, David, and I said, let me talk to my son. And I guess what I said to my son was probably, I know what I said, it's private, it's, I told him what I've been telling him the whole time, just please me, right, I didn't leave you, that, and, talked to Stephanie some more, and, well, Stephanie held him for a couple hours, and she had to pee really bad, and so she had to get up, and he was still the whole time, and so they picked David up, and they were putting him back in his little NICU, this little hospital bed, and they were doing the final vitals. They were just going to check the vitals to make sure, before they zipped them up. Well, I mean, they have a wristband, right? That that goes around the wrist, and it detects the oxygen and their oxygen saturation in their pulse. And as soon as she put it to his hand, put it over his wrist, he grabs it, and he was like, and he threw a fucking fit. He threw a fucking, he just got fucking pissed and started raging and punching, and his stats were up to 85. His stats were normal. So he just, you motherfuckers, just threw a fucking big ass fucking fit. Yeah, I told my son to come back to me. I told him fucking I'd be there. It's like, now I get out of jail, right? Okay, let's just think, right? I get out of jail, and I see my son. First time I see my son, he doesn't have any, he doesn't have any episodes of desaturation. He's doing great. He doesn't fucking go down at all. Like days. The next day they start taking him down off the vet settings. It's so high. Now a week later he was down to 35%. And 5 days after he was out. Then he got sick. Then they did his blood labs, and all his organs, their enzymes were up. He had fucking enzymes. All of his organs were basically, and the doctor comes up to me and he says, well, David has a fungal sepsis, right? And he looks at me and he says, well, sometimes certain antibiotics, which they said certain antibiotics will lower the body's ability to regulate fungus, right? And it can overload. And the antibiotics we were giving David for his lung infection, that's why he was going down all those times, caused this fungal sepsis. And I looked at him and I said, what did you fucking say? They said, well, it was a lung infection. He had a bacterial infection in his lung. And I was like, you told me his lungs were destroyed. You told me his lungs were fucking destroyed. And that there was no chance of physically gone. And you were treating him with a set of antibiotics for an infection? And you're telling me to kill my son? And I knew right then that they wanted him dead. I mean, period. I knew it. There was no other fucking thing. And they're like, that they lied to me to try to get a DNA out of him. There's a whole different story where fucking running and fucking antibiotics and like, now I have one more week with them, and I went to fucking, I popped 36 last, and I remember I went, and I did everything I was supposed to, and I went to court a day early, and I went in that courtroom, and I was psychic about shit. And I went in there, and everything was just fucking going. I talked to the prosecutor. Oh, your court date's not here today, but we can take care of you now. I said, no, I'll come back tomorrow. I fucking hightailed it out of there. For some reason, I knew that they were going to throw me in jail, even though I did everything I was supposed to. They were going to throw me in jail. Well, I didn't show up to court the next day. That feeling was so strong, right? Stephanie, about a week later, I have a warrant out now, and I go to Clark's, my friend Clark's, and Stephanie, she's at a hotel with Tiny, and Juan, and in the valley, and in Clark's Alpha Avenue, and I'm fucking walking down this, I'm walking across the street, and I see Stephanie sitting up against her, like, inside the foyer, and there's two guys talking to her. Like, I've never seen these things. And I thought I clocked her on something. So I go running across the street. And I just walk up, and I'm walking up to her, and I'm like, and I say, hi, Stephanie, I see the badge. And I see the dude's a cop now. He's got a fucking radio on the badge. I was like, hi, Stephanie. And then I just kept on walking. And he's like, hey, you, come here. And I just said, fuck you. And he said, please stop. Come here. He said, please stop. He yelled, please stop. And I said, fuck you. And I said, fuck you. And I said, now,